Hi, Billy Quartz here again with another video in the Moments of History of Optical Astronomy in Southern Africa. Now today's story is more star lore and another Sun Bushman story titled The Sun is the Head of Dancer Fireman. This tells the story how Dancer Fireman was decapitated for the light provided by his glowing head and how the head is still going around every day looking for his body, also explaining the strange behavior of the crab. A quick word about the term Bushman. After consulting several sources, it seems like the jury is still out on the political correctness of the terms Bushman and San. The term Bushman still seems to be the most widely accepted word amongst traditional Bushmen, and that San is actually an insulting term to some groups. Whenever we talk about oral cultures, this quote always comes to mind. In oral cultures, words evaporate as they are spoken. The same story can therefore never be told twice in exactly the same way. Just a quick background about the author who preserved these wonderful stories for us to enjoy today. Gideon Retief van Willig was born in Paarl in 1859. As a young child, he often travelled with his father, a travelling merchant, to Bushmanland. And then at night he was sitting around a fire listening to these fascinating stories being told by the Bushmen. He later became a land surveyor and he opened an office in Calvinia where he started collecting stories in seriousness, eventually publishing up to 60 stories in 4 volumes of Bushman stories. About 10% of these are celestial in origin, which are the ones that we've been sharing here. Most of the celestial stories are in volume 1, titled Mythology and Legends, published in 1919, just about 100 years ago now. To illustrate these, I asked Carol Botha if she could produce these scenes as Bushman paintings. Before doing this, she made a few interesting discoveries while researching the background about Bushman drawings. They often represented water as little squiggly lines or little bubbles. Imaginary lines were drawn with little dots around them, similar to what we would do a dotted line. Now the mantis features in most of their stories, often the head figure. The great water snake, they believed, was a snake who lived under the earth and carried this shiny stone on its forehead. People often wanted to steal the stone, but never managed to. Now, the great water snake controlled the lakes and even the rain and dew. People in a trance or shaman state are often depicted with buck heads. Martin Kilkenny, a graphic designer and son of one of our astronomers, Dave Kilkenny, also illustrated 2 of these stories for us. The narration was wonderfully done by Henny Chris Maas, son of Henny Maas from RSG Sterre en Planete fame. Chris Maas also features on RSG these days with his own radio program.
The Sun is the head of Dancer Fireman. This story tells how Dancer Fireman was decapitated for the light provided by his glowing head, and how the head is still going around every day looking for his body, explaining the strange behavior of the crab. Dancer the Fireman, also known as the Firemaker, used to walk about as a human. From his head, light and heat radiated. He is the one who put fire in wood, in stones, and in the clouds. Where he walked or went, there was always light and heat, which is why he always had a large following around him. The hunters in his vicinity could see where the game was, and those in search of felt foods could easily find it by the light of Dancer's head. But sometimes Dancer got too lazy to walk and then just sat down. The hunters then begged him to walk further so that they could see the game, but he would stay put and mock them. "Why don't you go and make your own light?" Over time, he became very lazy, and instead of hunting, he just took the game which the hunters shot. This angered the hunters, because when they returned home without any food for their hungry children, their wives were very dissatisfied. It got so bad that the women suggested to their husband that they kill Dancer with poisoned arrows and carry his head around on a long stick so that the people could see. So the hunters got together to discuss this plan. Since no one had eyes strong enough to withstand the light, or hands that could endure the heat from Dancer's head, they thought that if they could shoot him while walking through the water will quench his fiery head as he falls. They, however, realized that this could cause the light and heat to be gone, leaving them in darkness and cold forever. But they were so tired of his mockery and stealing that they were prepared to take that chance. Lion, tiger, wolf, jackal, cat, and others, however, wanted nothing to do with the murder, because they could see well enough in the dark. The bushman believed they were all people of the ancient race. However, the hunters stuck to their plan. They watched Dancer closely, and just as he walked through the water, they all shot simultaneously. As the arrows hit him, he fell forward into the water, and out went the light, and gone was the heat. They ran up to him and quickly cut off Dancer's head underwater. They then dragged his body out and left his head on the embankment to see what happens to it. But Dancer's head and body wouldn't die. The head's eyes looked about and turned from side to side, and the body stood up and walked about headless. The head calls to the body, but the body doesn't hear. The body in turn searches for the head, but can't find it. So instead of walking closer to the head, he goes further and further away. A woman then sent her children to throw the head of Dancer into the sky, so that light and warmth would come. She warned her children to be careful that the body, which was walking about, doesn't get hold of them. The children carefully approached the head, which was beginning to dry and give light. It was getting so hot when the children touched it, they abruptly threw it up into the sky. When the mother saw this, she called out, "Wind, wind, come and take the head high up into the blue sky, that we can have light and warmth." Then a strong whirlwind carried the head up to above the clouds and left it there. This was how the head of Dancer Fireman became the sun. The head of Fireman was satisfied to stay up there in the sky, but he still does search incessantly for his body. In the mornings, he starts searching at the mountains in the east. He climbs, searching higher and higher in the sky, and when he's climbed high enough, he descends still searching, downward, downward, until he comes to the mountains at the western side, and then dives so he can search there in the deep waters of the ocean. He rummages through all the places on land and underwater to look for his body, but he doesn't find it, because the body has been emaciated and became so stunted that it has now assumed the form of a crab. Until today, the body still walks, all while without a head, up and down next to the water's edge, in search of its head. When the sun goes away, he ensures that the earth is pitch, pitch black, because in those days there wasn't yet moon or stars to shine at night.
Well, I hope you're enjoying these stories. And if you missed any, please go back to my YouTube channel and go and watch them. See you next time. Bye.